A Canadian pilot has just been charged with flying as an airline captain for 17 years without proper licensing. The involved pilot began his airline career all the way back in 1998 as a first officer, and according to news reports, Air Canada was the first and only airline he flew with. And in 2009, he was then promoted to captain. The authorities haven't said specifically how many hours he flew in that role, but he made over 900 domestic and international flights in command of Boeing 767s, 777s and 787s. Now, regulations on licensing exist for a reason, and this story allegedly involves forging documents, so it was a serious matter. But was passenger safety really at risk? Well, let's look a bit more closely at this pilot and his qualifications. Geoff Wall, which is his name, earned his private pilot license just before graduating from high school, and he then joined the military, where he flew different types of helicopters like Hueys and Sea Kings, including as an instructor. According to Air Canada, when Wall made the transition to airline pilot, he then did obtain a valid commercial pilot license, or CPL, along with the rest of the licenses and endorsements that he needed in order to operate as a first officer. So, what he actually lacked was an Air Transport Pilot License, or ATPL, which is essentially a command license and involves some additional theoretical testing and a skill test. Today, new airline pilots are generally required to have what we call a frozen ATPL to join an airline even as first officers, but this wasn't always the case. Pilots with frozen ATPLs have already done the theory, so they can jump over to the captain's seat once they have enough hours, have passed the skill test, and when the airline needs and have trained them. Now, exactly how Air Canada missed the fact that Wall lacked an ATPL is not clear, but a key point here, which the airline also stressed, is that during his 17 years as a captain, Wall successfully passed all of his line and sim checks. So, while this appears to be a case of fraud, it likely didn't put any lives of passengers at risk. This case is very different from another famous case of a Swedish-born pilot called Thomas Salme, who managed to spend around 13 years flying Boeing 737s with 3 different airlines, both as a first officer and a captain, and he did that with nothing more than a private pilot license and a strange backstory involving a fictional airline called Aladdin Airways. Salme had previously worked as a maintenance engineer for SAS, where he had managed to learn how to operate a 737 thanks to a friend who let him spend hundreds of hours flying a 737 simulator. Now let me know if you want me to make a full video about fraudulent pilots, and also make sure you have subscribed to both Mentor Pilot and Mentor Now.